Warm welcome to everyone on Zoom and special welcome to those who are with us in person. So, this is our Thursday evening lecture series, which we call Wisdom in Action. And the thought is that after tonight's talk, we can take some wisdom nuggets with us and put them into action throughout the day as we are going through different challenges in life or different scenes in life. So we apply what we can. So today's topic is work-life balance in a busy world. So how many of us feel that the life is busy? It's all hectic. And then usually we set few days of the week, no? We set it separately just to enjoy and rest. Friday is coming up, Friday night. And then we segregate that. But one of the thoughts that came to me when I was trying to think about this is it's less about the busyness outside. It's really to do with what priorities that are we setting within ourselves, within the mind. Because let's say if you have a deadline coming up at a workplace, or you're trying to finish up a project, or let's say you have to report to a higher authority under whom you're working. And then on the other hand, let's say within the same time frame, you are being invited to parties or events. So your friends are calling you. But you would prioritize work, right? Because that is something you really need to finish and get it over with. So even though multiple things might be happening simultaneously, but what we can do for ourselves is not diverge, not let these thoughts and different tasks that show up in the mind overpower us. Rather, what we would try to do is nurture a mindset where we don't ignore responsibilities, we don't ignore the tasks that we need to do throughout the day, but just prioritize them. Okay, a thought is coming, well, this is not my priority at this point in time, and so maybe I can do it at a later time. That is one thing. But in order to do this, one other thing that we can explore from tonight is the power of thoughts itself. We have become so occupied with our work lives, with different jobs, with different occupations, families even. So we've got all caught up. And then we feel, oh, we need rest. Oh, it's too much today. Right? So what we can take for ourselves is, can we really go deep and understand the power of thoughts? And how does this mind function in the first place? Because the more we learn to nurture the mind and recognize the power that my thoughts hold, the better we would be able to prioritize different things. And there was a very interesting story I recently read about, and maybe that could be something you could keep yourself and think about it. And of course, we have Sister Rona who will take us deep into this reflection today. But the story goes something like this. There was a very famous actor, I think, in the West, Charles Coogan or something. I forgot the name, something like that. And He was an actor, yeah, and I think he was born elsewhere. He was brought up in New England somewhere, I guess. But then he had come to US, and then he had settled. He had made a career for himself, and he became a very famous actor and everything. And it was his wish that when he dies, he wanted to be buried in the land where he grew up. So that was something close to his heart. But as usual in these professions, generally speaking, with actors and artists, usually they have a peak and then they kind of fade off. So he had already crossed that golden time of his life, and he did not have money to return back, and death came suddenly. So he had to leave his body here itself. So the locals buried him, I think, in Texas. This is based in Texas or someplace. And they were waiting that maybe someone from his family would show up later and collect the body from the coffin and take it to the place where he really wanted to be buried after death. But no one came, and so they just buried him locally here in the US. And then it is said that that very night there was a hurricane that came and it destroyed everything there. It was a massive destruction. And when the locals went back to the site where they had buried the coffin, they couldn't find it. Everything, the site was completely destroyed. And so they presumed that the coffin might have landed in the sea or the ocean. But of course, they started searching for the body, started searching for the coffin. And the people who were finding, they thought, well, how far could have gone? Maybe near Mexico somewhere. They spent years, they couldn't find it. And then after 6 years or 7 years or so, that coffin was found in the island that he really wanted to be buried. The body was, of course, not in a very good state. It had already started to decay, but the face was still recognizable. And so the locals there recognized him, and then they gave him a proper burial in the place where he wanted to be. So the question that we could take and reflect within ourselves is, do thoughts even work after death? What is the power of these thoughts? And what can we do with these thoughts when we understand how does the mind work? So this is something I've been keeping with myself for the past few days. A very interesting thing to just think about. And then see for ourselves what can we take from this and apply in our daily lives, throughout our busy lives, throughout living life and fulfilling all the responsibilities that we have to. So we have Sister Rona, and she'll be taking us deep into this reflection for tonight. So hope you take some pieces of wisdom. Welcome, Mom, once again.
Hello again. Thank you, Achal, for your thoughts and sharing of that anecdote. I had never heard of that. But it is, of course, always useful to remind ourselves of the power of our thoughts, and we do not realize most of the time. And even if we realize that there is power in our thoughts, we do not realize the immensity of that. But one thing how I always remind myself of the power of thought is that everything that happens in the world is created. And it started with a thought. Every good thing, every bad thing, every big thing, every small thing. It started with thoughts and with feelings, and that then becomes manifest and actions follow. And because thoughts are invisible, we tend to be more oriented toward what is physical and tangible. We tend to give that more importance and more value. But whatever is visible and tangible, it originated somewhere in the thought, in the mind. And to pay more attention to the quality of your thoughts and the quality of your mind. Because it is a creating force. So you better be aware of what you are thinking and what energy is put out. But tonight's topic, this work-life balance. And of course, thoughts are connected with that very clearly. But this work-life balance, many of us, at least at times, we feel overwhelmed. Many of us, at least at certain times, we feel that life is not in our own hands. And that we are like, that things happen to us, that life happens to us, instead of that we are kind of steering our way through things. No? And so this work-life balance theme has much to do with this feeling of being overwhelmed, or feelings of being lost, feelings of being all the time like what is this thing they say? A human doing instead of a human being. That we are ruled by rhythms and structures and routines, and they can even become, they can be overwhelming, but they also can become boring. No, in the same, every day the same, every day the same, every day the same, every day the same. And the pile of to-do things, it doesn't get less. You work hard all day, or you do so many things, and still the to-do list maybe even get bigger at the end of the day. And so it can kind of feel, at some stage, we feel, what for? And what am I doing this for? And it reminds me of a anecdote, of a story of a tourist. An American tourist goes and he visits some country in Asia, and he goes to the interior, and there are some farmers there and some people who have their own rhythm. And he, in the middle of the afternoon, he sees one farmer is resting, sitting underneath a tree, eating his lunch and taking a nap, like a siesta. So when he wakes up, this tourist tells him, why don't you stop taking your siesta and continue to work? And he said, why should I do that? He says, well, then you can produce more of your crop. He said, why should I do that? When you can sell more. and make more money. He said, okay, so why should I do that? If you make more money, you can hire more people. You can buy more land. So why should I do that? Then you can produce more and you can make more money. I said, okay, so why should I do that? He said, if you make more money, you can buy more land and you can hire more people and they can produce more. You can make more money. He says, so why should I go through all of that? He says, so then you can relax under the tree. Have your siesta. He says, so why should I go through all of that, and I'm doing it right now already? Of course, there is nothing wrong with working and working hard. But we sometimes are in this working and producing mode, and we forget why we're doing things in the first place. Many people, one friend of mine is telling me she has a huge house and she has 3 little children, but she hardly sees them. And she has a lady who cleans the house, who cooks and looks after the children. And she tells me that lady is more time in her house than she. So who is enjoying her house? Who is enjoying her children? This other lady. And she is working all the time to pay off the mortgage, to pay off all of that. So she has this big house, she has these 3 children, but she is not enjoying it. So what is our life? You know, we get into this mode, and what are we doing it all for? Nothing wrong with a big house, nothing wrong with working, nothing wrong with 3 children, but sometimes we get into this almost like a trap. And you feel you can't stop, because you can't stop. You have to pay your mortgage. You have to, pay the lady to look after your house and your children. So it becomes like a whole trap. Now, what spirituality inspires us to do is to take a step back and ask ourselves truly, who am I, and what is this life truly all about? And what is my deeper aim? Now, I don't remember who, but one philosopher was saying, we wake up in the morning, we run the whole day, we do 1,000 things, and just to end up the end of the day in the same place where we started. So what we did all of that for? To end up where we started, in the morning, in bed again. And one of the reasons why we can feel lost is because we don't have a clear aim for our life. I mean, okay, big house, owning your own house can be an aim, but once you have it, then what? You're just paying mortgage every month. Still not really yours. By the time it is truly yours, you're almost retired. 3 children you have, okay, nothing wrong with 3 children. But if you never see them, never grow up, the first time they talk is to a stranger. The first time they walk, who sees their first steps, is someone who's not the parent. What are we doing all these things for? And the beauty about spirituality, I feel, and a life of meditation, a life of spiritual practices, it's where we ask ourselves, who am I truly? And what is my aim? What is my aim in life? What is my aim with life, for life? I worked for about 7 years in a geriatrics clinic working with people in the final stage, many of them in the final stage of their life. And the things they feel comfortable about, the things they feel as achievements of their life, the things they feel content about, of course, were the professional achievements, some financial achievements, some social achievements. That is there, but what they much more deeply valued inside is the quality of their relationships. And that is what matters for many at the end of life also. Are they surrounded by people who understand them, people who love them, people who they have beautiful memories with? What matters at the end of the life is a feeling of being good and having done good. And having done good doesn't mean that they have to build a statue for you and worship you for many years, but that you have given happiness to people instead of sorrow. That a life of a certain dignity and integrity, that is what people feel proud of, and where people feel peace and at peace with themselves. But what I mostly saw is people who are deeply spiritual and people who had cultivated a mind that could be in peace, at ease, a mind that felt, what is the word, proud of the life lived and the actions performed during the life. Those often are people who are okay with the end of life. And so it was very interesting for me to observe that the things we often think that is important whilst we are living and doing our life may not be so important when we look back on that life. And to be able to live a life without regret, that is one of the things that gives deeper peace. And then to be able to live a life of which we are proud of what we have done and the actions performed, that is what gives deeper contentment and a sense of fulfillment. So work-life balance, first of all, we need to be clear why we're working. Is working an aim in itself? Is working a method to rise up my sense of self-respect? Or is working am I working because I want money? But then even then I could ask myself, why am I wanting money? There is a deeper need behind, no? And so, but if work becomes my identity, and if work becomes my sense of fulfillment, if work becomes my sense of self-respect, then I will also take my work home. And I can take my work home in my bag and in my computer, but I can also take my work home here. So even if I finish at 6 o'clock, I'm not finished here, because I will continue to think and what will happen, and I have to do this, and my to-do list grows. So even when you are at home or when you are in your social activities, still work pressure is there in your mind. And then work becomes your life. And then what happens after maybe some years of work? Say you're in your 50s or maybe even 60s, you can't do the work anymore or you have to retire. What will happen? You feel sorrow. Because we have built our life and our sense of self and our sense of existence and our sense of self-respect and our sense of self-worth around a career or around work. And so if that work is not there, it's as if I am not there anymore. Empty. Yeah. But there will, for all of us, there will come a time, no? When things change. And so this whole understanding of work-life balance, it is not about managing time. Because we can manage time. You can create an agenda and you can plan it and do all the tasks, and you can get full and you can even work overtime and you can start earlier and get it. But you're leaving that emptiness of the one who is living and experiencing. You become like a robot, just doing things. But we are not robots. We are not robots. We are conscious living beings with this ongoing what is the word? It's not ability, this ongoing activity of experiencing. We are experiencers. And so to explore our innate nature, which is not working. When a child is born, what is the first thing it starts doing? Working? When we get born, that is not what we naturally do. What we naturally do when a baby gets born, as it grows, what it starts doing? Playing, enjoying, exploring, expanding, interacting, learning. That is innate nature of who we are. But we forget that, and we get trapped in some job and some I have to, and paycheck and credit card and owning. Where is our playing? Where is our doing things that we like? It is this little bit of this left brain and right brain activity also. Now, even in school, there was a time when we used to play at school also. No? I don't know if they still do that. Well, sports, little bit, it becomes very competitive too. But still, at least there is that element of play. But work-life balance means bring in this element of play and bring in this element, or bring back this element of enriching yourself through sports or entertainment or social activity and in interaction with others. And we can do that even at work also. Because at work, many of us, we have to interact with others also. Am I a bit clear? Trying to convey this understanding. We have become so, what is the word? Tunnel vision, limited, doing what we're required or what is expected or what we're supposed to do. But I am not a human doing. And so to bring back this element of play, and to bring back this element where we allow ourselves to bring in that playfulness in life. Even at work, but even if you cannot do it at work, then do it at other things. You know, sometimes people ask me, what is meditation? And I will tell them meditation is playing with your mind. Playing with your thoughts. Being creative. Exploring things that your work does not necessarily allow you to do. Meeting people, different interactions, different thoughts, different feelings. Play the game of life. Let's not get trapped in one or two activities and this has to, and this has to, and this has to. You will enjoy your work also better and money will still come, don't worry, because you are still working. But it is not like a trap anymore.
Is it that seriousness that we put into our life, everyday life, especially at work? We have to be serious, not playing, make things perfect. We don't want to do things twice. But also we fail to see that we learn from mistake, and we build a better relationship when we forgive others or don't see fault in others, but we fail to help others by being so serious and instead helping them.
Yeah, but being serious doesn't mean I need to be heavy.
Yes, that's the seriousness I mean, being
exactly,
heavy.
Yeah.
And then you're heavy with yourself, serious with yourself.
And heavy with others also.
Yes.
Because you can be playful and still be serious. But not with that, you can still do things good. And you can still do things accurate, but still it has that element of play. And that element of play comes from a certain innocence and comes from a certain deeper sense of feeling safe. And that, I feel, can only come when we have a spiritual perspective of life, on life. When we have a broader perspective on life, and when there is a deeper practice of inner stillness, of knowing yourself as a soul, not just a physical human, having an understanding of the self as a being who transcends the limitations of the body, who transcends the limitations of birth and death. And yeah, anyone want to say anything so far? Or anyone on Zoom want to say anything? If not, we will go over to the board. I'll share a few more things. You want to say anything? Ask anything? No? Okay. You don't have to, but... And so this work-life balance, it means we need to be able to not be trapped in a certain situation or in a certain routine or in certain activities we as if need to be able to step back and observe things from a bit broader perspective. And in a playful way, I will try to sketch how we could look at ourselves and how we could look at life from a bit different angle, or a spiritual angle. No? So we normally think of ourselves as, so say this is Sandra. No? And Sandra has a job, let's say as a nurse, NYU, working very hard, working shifts, working weekend shifts, overwhelming, sometimes too many things to do and you can't get it done, and the patients are needing more and demanding more, and colleagues and doctors demanding more, and not in a good mood all the time, and you get a feel that is there. And Sandra also is married, she has a husband, and she has children, and they need to go to school. So when she's at home, she has to prepare all of that, and they have their extra school activities also, so she has to drive them to their activities and whatever. A very busy life. And they're also trying to buy their apartment and own, and you can imagine all of this. And this goes on, and it starts very nicely. They get married, they love each other, they get children, they love the children. But now the children are like in their early teens, or 11, 12, 13, and life is just hectic, 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 hectic. And initially they can sleep good at night, but now also sleep is not so well anymore, good anymore. So they come home tired, they go to bed tired, they wake up tired. And so you just drink a few coffee and you go back on the routine. No? This is Sandra's life. Sandra is a good person. Husband is a good person. Children are good children. But still, busy, 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 busy. Wishing that there were 28 hours in a day. But even if there were 28 hours, they would still be busy, 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 and tired and tired and tired. Now, one way to look at this is as an ego-driven life. And an ego-driven life just means, ego means our sense of identity and our sense of self is limited to this. I am a female, I am a wife, I am a nurse, I am a mother, and I have to do all these things. A very ego-organized life. Ego in this sense means your sense of identity is any of these. Nurse, for example, I am a nurse, or I am a mother. What spiritual knowledge tells us is you are a spiritual being, a being of consciousness, a soul. And this is temporarily a part that you play, a role that you act out. And this part, this role has a beginning and it has an end. But you, the being of consciousness, you are invisible, but you are timeless. This is what we call soul. The real self, the one who is thinking, the one who is experiencing, the one who is having certain feelings and emotions and attitude. The soul. And the soul comes into this physical world, into this body, as a guest, as a player of the game of human life. And there is a beginning and an end to the job. There is a beginning and end to all the different experiences. But I am that experiencer. And so this experience may finish, but I will go on. And this bigger perspective helps us to be able to step back. I don't need to be in this, this triangle of chasing things. What is the purpose of this experience? To enjoy. Very good. To enjoy, not to get stressed out. You know. And you want to do some service, that's fine. Yeah, we can learn here, we can help others, we can interact, we can explore, we can create, be creative, but that is all as part of the game that we play. But we can only have that feeling and that attitude if we have a bigger perspective. Now, the spiritual knowledge tells us the soul is immortal. Death and birth is only for the body, but the being transcends the limitations of birth and death. We existed before this body took shape, and we will continue to exist after this body perishes. But whilst we're with the body, you use it as a tool to play the game. And just like you get in a car, you use the car, and then after a while you get out of the car. And if the car doesn't work anymore, that's also fine. You continue on foot or you take another car. But to step back and not be trapped in, these different scenes of this drama of human life. And we can get in this spiral, physically but also mentally. It just become like obsessive thinking and acting. But because we're not in alignment with our true nature, with our original nature, with our innate nature, sooner or later this will start feeling how to say, like a jail, and overwhelming. What am I doing all of it for? And so work-life balance is not so much about managing time. Time is there anyway, and you will do something or the other. You will think one thing or another. But it is more of the quality of your thoughts, your attitude towards life, your perspective on self. And we can work for money, or fame, or position, or status, or sense of importance. Or we can work as an act of service. We can work as a contribution to society. We can work as a playground of learning how to deal with people. because at work or wherever you're, I'm now talking about work, but any situations you're interacting with others. And others have all kinds of personalities. They have all kinds of personality traits. You yourself, you have all kinds of traits. So how to harmonize that, how to learn from that, how to grow from that, how to enrich yourself, how to grow in the power of tolerance, for example, how to grow in the power to cooperate, regardless of the pushback that you get sometimes, or the hardship that comes towards you. The game of human life. And so then it will also be more easy to use the power to, to pack up, the power to stop. Now, one sign of a clear mind, one sign of someone who has things in perspective, is that when work finishes, it finishes. I'm not carrying my work home, or carrying it to the gym, or carrying it to my social events. You finish work, finish it. Of course, now with after COVID, it has become even more of a intertwining because many of us work at home now, or work from home. So, and then it becomes even more, even while cooking, or even while cleaning, or looking after the kids, or looking after the pets, we are still working in between also. The whole thing becomes such a jumbled up total. But we need to be clear. What is the purpose of what we're doing? Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we choosing to do what we're doing? And what for? And then often I meet people who say, oh, I want to meditate, or I should meditate. And or I want to pay more attention to meditation, and I want to do it more, I want to deepen it more, I want to understand it better, I want to know how to do it better. But either they say I don't have time, or often they say I don't know how to do it. And so what happens is, if you don't have that ability to step back, then you sit in meditation, and what comes in your mind? Your work. You sit down and you want to become quiet, you want the mind to relax, you want the mind to fill with silence and light. But the face of your computer and your colleagues and your clients and your boss, it comes on the screen of your mind, because we haven't cultivated that clarity that life is not just work. There is a bigger picture there, and work is a part of the game that we play, not everything. Anyone want to say anything? Ask anything? So what can I practically do to be more balanced with this? Play more. one of the things we can do is every day start your day with some time of silence, of meditation, even if it is just 5-10 minutes, if it can be longer, and in your meditation, consciously step back. Become as if the silent observer of the dynamics of your day and your life. And remind yourself who you truly are. Everything has a beginning and an end, but you will continue to be there. Understand yourself and experience yourself as a being of light, a spiritual being, a being of peace, a child of the Supreme Soul, God. And that whatever is there in the drama of human life, it will finish also. Situations come, situations will go, but you will continue to be there. And tap into that timelessness and that peace and that serenity and that freedom. And then, like Jose was suggesting already, remind yourself that you're playing the game of human life. See yourself as that player, that visitor here, and use your tools to play. In every situation, what is here to learn? What can I add? How can I grow from this? How can I make this fun? For myself. Now, one time, one person was not very nice to me and saying some nasty things and critical things, and also they were not true, but and I observed in myself the tendency of taking it in and absorbing it and becoming heavy. And I said, why? This is not my problem. This is their problem. Why am I going to feel bad now? This is their problem. So in my mind, I started to visualizing a cartoon character, you know, when the smoke comes out of their eyes and their thoughts are ping pang, all kinds of, and out of the mouth comes fire, and face becomes green. I started to visualize it. So internally, I had fun. And the person is upset and all kind of thing. But whatever I would do, I can't help them because the problem is not me. Problem is their head. So I just look at the scene and I became quiet. And I said to myself, it helps me to increase my power to tolerate. It is testing me with my power to be loving and not rejecting or not harsh. It is helping me to increase my power to be compassionate. Thank you, I said. And the whole scene was over, and after 1 day or 2 days, as if nothing happened. So the part of the game is that you are also, how to say, trained for character, trained for powers, mental powers. Now, certain times the game of life brings you a situation to push you to be more flexible, to be more courageous, to use more wisdom, to be more loving. So it is a very special game. This game is much more intricate and much more sophisticated than any computer game. It's a big, big worldwide 3D computer game. And you are playing it. Sometimes you have to, how to say that? You have to dodge some punch. Sometimes there is comedy, sometimes there is seriousness, sometimes there is horror, sometimes there is cruelty, but it's all part of helping you to evolve, to grow, to learn. Some message is there. A very sophisticated game, no? You are the player on your team. Well, God's on your side. Okay, anyone want to say? So take time in the morning, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, if you can longer, and the earlier in the day, the better. And early means 4 o'clock, that is good also. Early doesn't mean 9 o'clock in the morning. Preferably before sunrise. And also take some wisdom, reinforce some spiritual wisdom for yourself. Take some lessons or some deeper wisdom and reinforce this inner attitude towards human life as a game. And when you're in the situations and you observe you're getting trapped or you're getting into this mode, just mentally step back as if this detached observer observing. I don't need to get into this ego mode. But it requires attention, repeated attention. Because it has the potential to suck us in, to make us heavy, to make us serious. We don't have to. Okay. And learn structurally and with a certain discipline to meditate and to enrich your spiritual understandings. Increase your spiritual wisdom through studies. Now here with the Brahma Kumaris, we have daily classes in the morning. We have daily meditation at the individual level, but also collective. If you do that every day, it becomes such a powerful tool to play the game of life in a balanced way, without getting trapped or overwhelmed or stressed out or depressed or overheated. Okay? Any final thoughts from anyone on Zoom? I see Jose Oviedo, all the way from Santo Domingo, joining us on Zoom. The Caribbean. Okay, let's close with a moment of silent reflection. And one final practice as a suggestion. Play with this power of thought. When you're doing something, pay full attention, but when you finish it also in your mind. Don't carry the past with you. So like now you're here. Don't carry what you did during the day in your mind. And practice this more and more. When you're with someone, full focus. You don't carry what was this moment before or the moments before or the morning activities. Finish it. Even if tasks from the morning are still there, you will attend to it tomorrow. I don't need to carry it in my mind. When you finish something, finish it also in your mind. And tomorrow, you will attend to it again if need be. Don't carry it over into your evening, into your sleep. That you okay? So as we sit here, again come back to this awareness of the self as a being of consciousness, temporarily using this body. And just in your mind, hold this image of self as light, timeless, pure, peaceful, like a tiny star, a point of light, operating the body, playing the game of human life. But the real self is light, a traveler through time and space. A guest in this body, a guest on this planet. Just remind yourself of this often. I am a spiritual being, and this body and this human personality is part of a role that I play. The real self is light, innately peaceful, innately God-like. And as we go through the rest of the evening, let us aim to hold this awareness of living light, free, loving, peaceful, a player in this game of life. Thank you, and Om Shanti.